Have you ever felt like artificial intelligence is this huge, complicated world full of jargon that's kind of hard to pin down? Well, you're definitely in the right place. In this explainer, we're going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to build a clear map of AI, giving you the core ideas and the vocabulary you actually need to understand what's going on. So let's just dive right in.
Here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the big picture. What exactly is AI anyway? Then we'll get into the really cool stuff, how machines actually learn. After that, we'll take a peek inside the AI brain, see how these systems are trained and tested, and then we'll wrap up with the absolutely critical topic of using AI responsibly.
All right, let's jump right into our first big question. So at its heart, AI is really just the science of making machines that can think and learn in ways that feel, well, human. We're talking about building systems that can reason, learn from experience, and make complex decisions. It's a massive and honestly a super fascinating field. Now, this slide is super important for getting the main terms straight. Think of artificial intelligence as the big, overall umbrella concept. It's the whole universe. Within that universe, you have machine learning, which is a specific way to create AI by having computers learn from data. And then, as a specialty within that, you have deep learning, which is a really powerful technique that uses complex structures, often inspired by our own brains. So, they aren't separate things. They're nested inside each other. It's also really important to know that not all AI is the same. Almost everything you interact with today, your phone's assistant, your Netflix recommendations, that's what we call narrow AI. It's incredibly good at one specific job. The next level, general AI, which could think like a human across lots of different topics, that's still theoretical. And then you have the concept of superintelligence, an AI that would surpass human intellect. For now, that's more of a future-facing idea we're exploring.
So, we've established that machine learning is about learning from data. But how does that actually work? It turns out there are three main ways machines get smart.
First up, we've got supervised learning. And the best way to think about this is like studying with flashcards. You give the AI a massive data set where every single piece of information is already labeled with the right answer. For example, you feed it 1 million emails, and each one is clearly marked spam or not spam. By going through all those examples, it starts to learn the patterns, so it can accurately guess the label for a brand new email it's never seen before. Okay, next is unsupervised learning. Now, imagine someone dumps a giant, messy bag of Legos in front of you and just says, sort these. You don't have an instruction manual, you don't have an answer key, you just start grouping them naturally, right? By color, by shape, by size. That's exactly what this kind of AI does. It finds hidden structures in data all on its own, which is amazing for things like sorting customers into different groups based on their buying habits. So if you remember one thing, it's this. The difference is the answer key. Supervised learning has one. It uses labeled data to predict something we already know how to define. Unsupervised learning, no answer key. Its whole job is to explore the data and discover interesting patterns we might not have even known were there. And the third way is reinforcement learning, which is all about learning through trial and error. Think about training a puppy. Good dog, you get a treat. Bad dog, no treat. It's the same idea in AI. A software agent is placed in an environment, like a video game. It gets points or rewards for making good moves, and it gets penalties for bad ones. After trying millions of times, it eventually learns the best strategy to maximize its score. This is how AIs master incredibly complex games. Okay, so we have these different learning styles, but what does the actual brain of the AI look like, especially when we're talking about deep learning? Let's pop the hood and look at the core engine, the neural network. A neural network is actually inspired by the human brain. It's made up of layers of connected nodes. So data, say the pixels from a photo, comes in through the first layer, the input layer. Then it flows through one or more hidden layers, and this is where the magic happens. The network starts to recognize patterns. First, simple things like edges and colors, then more complex shapes, and finally, whole objects. The output layer then gives you the final answer, like cat or not a cat. And this whole process of information flowing through is called forward propagation. So we have this structure, this neural network. But how do we actually teach it to get the right answers? And maybe just as important, how do we know if it's actually learning what we want it to? That's what we're going to get into right now. To train an AI, you've got this basic toolkit. The model is just the network itself that we're teaching. As it makes guesses, we use something called a loss function to score how wrong it is.
Think of it like a golf score. You want it to be as low as possible. The entire process of training, called optimization, is just tweaking the model's settings over and over again to get that loss score down. And when the model has seen all the training data one time, we call that a single epoch.
Now, one of the biggest challenges in training is finding the perfect balance. On one hand, you have overfitting. This is where the model basically just memorizes the training data perfectly, but completely falls apart when it sees something new. It's like a student who crams for a test. They know the specific answers, but don't really get the subject. The opposite is underfitting, where the model is just too simple and doesn't learn the patterns at all. The goal is to land right in that sweet spot where the model can generalize to new data it's never seen before.
So, how do we actually grade our AI's performance? Well, we use different metrics. Accuracy is the one everyone knows. What percentage of the time was it right? But that doesn't always tell the whole story. Let's imagine a medical test. Precision asks, out of all the times the AI said a patient was sick, how often was it actually correct? And recall asks a different question. Of all the patients who were truly sick, how many did our AI manage to find? As you can see, choosing the right report card really depends on what you're trying to accomplish.
And this brings us to our final, and you could argue, our most important topic. Because building powerful AI isn't just a technical problem. It comes with some massive ethical responsibilities. We have to be constantly asking ourselves these tough questions. Is the data we're using creating unfair bias in the results? Can we actually explain why the AI made a particular decision, or is it just a mysterious black box? Is people's privacy being respected and their data protected? And maybe the biggest one, who's accountable when it all goes wrong? Building AI we can trust is just as important, if not more so, than just building powerful AI. So we'll leave you with this thought. AI is so much more than just building smarter machines. It's forcing us to ask really deep questions about what intelligence even is. And as these systems get more and more powerful, the real challenge isn't just technical. It's about how we, as a society, decide to use this incredible technology responsibly. And that's a conversation that really involves every single one of us. Thanks for joining me.